Hello, I'd like to welcome you to my channel once again. My name is Maxwell Dr. and I want to show you once again today how you can design a box plot on this space called the beautiful space called Rstudio. Remember that Rstudio is the integrated development environment for R. For you to run R, for you to be able to run Rstudio, you must have to first install the main program of R, and then you now install Rstudio, with which you can now be able to do all your data analytics work. So on your screen, as you can already see, I have set my working directory to the folder called live streams. I can just let me just go over to my computer. Look at it's in my document space, and it is called live streams. That's the environment where my data and my source code is saved. So I have these three data sets: student data test A, student test A, student test B, and then test C. Okay, so if I run this code, it will easily, yeah, we're having a problem here because I've not completed this, so I'm yet to get to that. Now when we run this code, we will set our working directory. Then when we assign the variable name test A, test B, test C to the data set which we saw over in the folder with their file extension CSVs, we would have succeeded in importing the data into R. Alright, so just for instance, if we want to view this data, we can just run the code using the view function. Alright, so view test A, for instance, and you will have test A displayed on your system. This contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns of serial number, student name, the subject chemistry, physics, biology, agri, and electronics. This is the same thing that is obtainable in test B as well as test C. Now I want to prepare these three data sets. I want to combine them into one, but before I do that, I will have to create an additional column which I will name test group. Okay, so let me just go ahead and first remove these other two. Okay, so test group. When you type the new column, when you want to add a new column to your data frame in R, that is introduced by a $sign. In fact, after pressing it, it will reveal to you all the columns that you already have thereof. So, but I want to call this one test underscore group. All right, and under that, for test A, I want to fill it up with the word group A. So when I do this and run this code, that has been done. So a new column has been created and filled with group A, just for you to test. When I view it now, you can see that a test group column has been created and has been filled with group A. So when I do the same for the remaining data sets, that also would have been taken care of. So I'll just run this now. It's the same result we got in group A that we're going to have in other groups. All right, so thank you very much, friends. If this is the first time you are visiting this channel, please do well to hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. Like this video, leave me a comment on what you want, and share it with your friends, and then I'll be able to attend to your needs in my subsequent videos. So let's continue. Now the next thing I need to do now is to merge these three data sets, and I will assign the name combined. At this point, let me remove it so that I can type it for you to see. So I'll call it test combined. All right, and then I assign variable name using the symbols that we have mentioned before in our previous video. Then you are going to use the function rbind. Rbind is a function for combining data sets all on the same column, or on the same sort of columns. So the data set we have here is test A, separate that with a comma and give a space, test B, separate that also with a comma, test C. You do not need to introduce another column, another comma. This is because we don't have another data set after that. All right, so when we run this now, we would have created a data set called test combined, and to view it, we just use the function for view, and then let's view it together. Let's see. So now you can see that the data has been created, and it is a whole data having 60 entries. All right, and the column test group has been created. Nice. So if you like what you are seeing, please hit the subscribe button, share the video with your friends, and let's go. Now before I move to, we will also need to create another column called mean score. This is a group of 60 students, and we want to we want to view their scores. We want to calculate their scores. Now before we do that, we can also view the column names in our table, or if you like, in our data set, and that is by the use of the function referred to as call names. Look at it here, you pick it and then type your test combined. Now as soon as you run that code, you are going to get the list of data, the list of columns that we have, serial number, student name, and so on and so forth. Now let me also clear this one out. All right, so we want to create a new column in our data set called test combined. Now to do so, as I mentioned earlier, you need to use the $sign. When you use the $sign, you now type the new name, name of the new column you're about to create. So let me say mean scores. That's the name of the column I'm creating. Assign variable name, and then use the function row means, because we are calculating the row across rows. So row capital letter M, which is this. So row means, that's the function we are going to use. So then at this point, you also have to still call the data that you are using, which is test combined. Then you use the square brackets. Then you separate that with a comma. Then again you use the C function. All right. So at this point you use the quotation mark, and you if you like to copy chemistry. All right. Let's just say chemistry, and then you separate that with a comma. The next one is physics. Separate with a comma. The next is biology. Separate with a comma. The next is all inside the inverted commas are Greek. And then the next is in inverted commas electrical or electronics. And then you stop. After that, if you suspect that you could have missing values, then you use the function, use the method na.rm, which is this. Okay, and then you type true. You type true there. Alright, so when you run this now, the data set combined has gotten for itself a new row. Remember that this is what we had before. Okay, it has just run and presented this. But meanwhile, when we run it, you now have it as mean scores and test group. Now we have our data ready. We have our data ready to be able to run a box plot. So to run box plots, you first need to call the library ggplot2, which I have just invited, or let me say imported. After that, you now type to prepare your box plot. You now type, you say ggplot, use the ggplot function, and then call our data test combined and separate and use AES, the AES function. Using the AES function, you will have to define what your X axis will contain, which is test group, right? Separate with the comma and then tell us what your Y axis will contain, which is the mean scores. Then when you are done with that, you add a plus sign and then get yourself a new line. Under your new line, you now have to tell the computer geom, you will use the geom plots, geom box plots, because we are plotting a box plot. There you tell it that it should fill, use the fill, fill equal to, choose a color, let's say sky blue. I hope the spelling is correct. Alright, so sky blue, and then tell us about the color of the outline. So color, either you spell in the British format or you use the American. So color equal to, insert that in inverted commas as well. Let your color be black. Okay, at this point your bracket is already closed. Then you introduce a plus sign again, and then from there you go to the labels, and labels is introduced by labs, and then you say labs, tell it what our title will be. Title equal to, that should be in quotation marks. Say, let our title be box plot of mean scores by test group. Box plots by text group. Then you have a close brackets. Oh, sorry, you have a comma. Next you have X. If you like, this can be on the same line, so let's just put that. Say X is equal to the label for X is equal to test group, comma, and the Y axis is equal to mean score. Then when you are done with that, and then you introduce a plus, and now you say theme underscore minimal, close bracket, open and close. So let's try this and see. We're going to have a box plot. We notice a minor error. So let me see where the error is coming from. Okay, so let me try to debug and find out what the problem is. Okay, I discovered that, yeah, mean score is supposed to be mean scores. There's an S that was omitted, so let me add that. And then there is a need to use the graphic function, graphic off function. So let me reset the graphic by the use of graphic.off function. So let's see, are we going to be able to have it run correctly now? Voila, Boxplot has been effectively designed, named, as you can see. Thank you very much, folks, for watching. Please, if you are yet to subscribe and share this video with your friends and family. Thank you. Bye bye.